Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Good evening, Akado. Thank you, sir. Good evening, Omokende. Good evening, Ipochinojo. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for your presence and thanks for the support, particularly Koboko, Abby 71. Thank you for and others. Those are the names I can see, but everybody, thank you for the 55.6K likes on TikTok. I really do appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much for your support. This goes a long way to help the live stream. If you're on TikTok, please power tap just like our folks, and let's keep pushing the live to the FYP. Also, click on the heart icon above my picture there so you can join the team. If you're already a member of the team, please click on it to drop a heart me. Let's all drop heart me's and gifts so that we can push the live to the FYP together. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Like I said, the other day, so it may take me a while. So Mondays like this, sometimes we'll be able to come on camera, and a day like this, it's just going to be better for us to have a replay. But I will, be around. We'll be on camera tomorrow. All right, just make sure that we're consistent, regardless of whether we're on camera or not. But I'm glad to be here. I'm sure we're gonna have a great time together. We're gonna be having a replay of a conversation we had some time ago, talking about the consistency of Peter Obi's inconsistency. And of course, that has to do with the fact that he's been changing parties a lot. So we'll get into that conversation in a bit. Folks on Facebook and YouTube, thank you very much for joining us today. Hope you had a wonderful weekend as well. Good evening. Koboko, good evening. Madame Bironke, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. So today, the consistency of Peter Obi's inconsistency. Before I even get into that, I know a lot of things have happened, though, some interesting news items. And I love, coming on camera on Monday so we can have full sessions. But it's never too late. So we're going to get into all of those things later. And also, I think at the end of today's session, we can get in some of those things that folks may want to talk about. So you'll have the opportunity to come up and we can all have a great time sharing the stage. All right. Prophet Ibojinodu, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. All right. So you're trying to come up. That'll be much later after the replay. Okay. I think we're good. So we're gonna get on Twitter later. Oh, there, Imo. All right, we'll do that later. But for now, we're just going to be on YouTube. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to start by reading the description, then we'll listen together. Now, of course, this is a lot of things have happened since we did this video. So Peter Obi has not only changed parties, I hear that the NDC has now zoned the presidency to the south, which is an interesting conversation that we should have. Perhaps we'll talk about it at the end of this replay, or maybe we want to go deeper tomorrow. And it's quite funny that they're zoning it to the south. And I think they're doing that because of Peter Obi. Number one, he's not going to win. But here's the thing. So say he wins, right? And he has already done that he's going to spend only one term, 4 years. By the end of his term, do you really think he's going to hands off and say, you know what, I don't really care about it. I'll fix Nigeria the way I really wanted to do it? I'm sure you all know the answer to that. We'll get to in all of those things much later, but these are things happening in our political landscape. It's quite interesting. All right, let's get into this. The political trajectory of Peter Obi reveals a pattern of persistent instability that raises serious questions about his path toward becoming the president of Nigeria. His transition from swearing eternal loyalty to ABGA toward a declaration that he could change parties 20 times reflects a core lack of ideological grounding. Moving through the PDP, LP, and ADC before landing in the NDC proves that his primary strategy involves constant flight and blaming others for his woes. This habit of blaming external factors or abstract ideas like quarrels for every departure suggests a leader who avoids the hard work of building and stabilizing institutions. Supporting a figure with such inconsistent record requires a deep examination of what a leader who runs from internal friction can actually accomplish in electoral office. Obedience must confront the reality that a perpetual habit of abandoning ship at the first sign of trouble makes inconsistency the only predictable trait in his career. Governance requires the ability to resolve rifts and settle disputes within a party. It is a curious habit for a man who claims to seek national leadership to run at the faintest scent of trouble, rather than staying to settle quarrels and build a lasting structure. A leader who avoids conflict within a party is unlikely to possess the resolve needed to face the myriad of national problems currently testing the Nigerian spirit. The constant movement between political structures proves that this journey relies on blaming everyone else for every failure. Every party shift comes with a new set of excuses that shift the responsibility onto fellow members or the government. Effective leadership demands the courage to strengthen the foundation of a movement from within while following a blueprint for success. Those betting on this inconsistent path must ask if a politician who cannot settle rifts in a party has the stamina to face the many problems of the country. Here's the consistency of Peter Obi's inconsistency. Take a listen. Because so here's the thing about the three major candidates and their political journey since 1999. So Peter Obi in the early 2000s was in ABGA, was governor of Anambra State, then he moved to PDP, then from PDP to Labour Party, from Labour Party to ADC, from ADC to NDC. And I was saying earlier when the YouTube stuff went off that I wonder what he's going to say about the folks in ADC now. Because remember, he called them structure of criminality while he was in LP. When he got to ADC, he said they were being persecuted by the government. That just like Jesus, was spending time with, prostitutes and tax collectors, he's also with them. And by the way, they're even being persecuted by the government. Now that he has left ADC, don't be surprised if you start hearing that those people are now structure of criminality all over again, because now opportunism no go cut and sorry. Anyway, he has moved from ABGA to PDP to Labour Party to ADC, and now he's going to ADC or be NDC. Like I said, there is DC there, so I think it means something. Atiku Abubakar has gone from PDP to AC, back to PDP, then to APC, back to PDP, and now in ADC. Ashwaju has been, that's Brother Ahmed Tinubu has been in AD in 1999, was in AD, then AC by 2006, then ACN in 2010, and APC in 2013. Now, there's something very different from what Ashwaju did and what either of the others did. He didn't change parties. It was an AD, was one state. What structure he had became AC. Because of the 6 states of the Southwest in 2003, only Lagos had an AD governor. All the 6 states had AD governors in 1999. By 2003, we lost 5 states, had only one. That one state became AC. AD eventually just went down the drain, sadly. Became AC. AC now upgraded itself to ACN because it was trying to go national, right? Thank you, metamorphosis, that's the word, right? Became ACN. So if you hear the word, the party became, it's not the man moved from one party to another. The AD became AC in Lagos, AC became ACN, ACN worked with CPC to create APC. So you see evolution, right? You don't see a person just jumping from one place to another because they cannot bear to compete with folks in that place as far as having primaries is concerned. Like you've got to give them the ticket. If you can't give them the ticket, they're going to jump all over the place. And here's the crazy part: they are incapable. I was going to say they will not do it, but interesting. I think, and this is me being very, very generous. I think Peter Obi is incapable of creating a political of 2023 to create a party. That's what Kwankwansia is now. That's what NMPP, that's what it was, or what it is. Although now he's moving, but he has his movement, but at least he created a party at some point. That's what Tinubu did. He was a governor, then they formed a party. And then they played the long game. You keep jumping, anyway, we're going to get it. He keeps jumping from one party to another. At least if you look at Atiku Abubakar, as bad as he bad, PDP is like a constant refrain. He will leave, you come back. He will leave, he will come back. You know, like he left to join AC in 2006, he returned in 2009 to PDP. Then he left to join APC, then he returned again in 2017. Then he has now left to join ADC. But the most unstable, constantly changing parties and platforms is Peter Obi. And it's quite crazy that he would do this considering the things that he has said in the past. I'm going to listen to some of those things today. First, we begin with an interview with Akim Baba Ahmed on Politics Today on Channels TV and what he had to say about Peter Obi's chances. Take a listen, please.
Weaker experience and what Peter Obi needs to understand. One of the reasons I think Peter Obi is saying, hey, listen, look at me. This is Peter Obi. I'm not here for number 2. I'm not here for convention. I'm here to fly the flag. And he's getting people who are saying to him, initially in whispers and politely, and now they're saying to him, listen, join the queue. You're not the only one with ambition here. Look around you in this room. There are 1 or 2 people who have been here from day one. And they're sitting there waiting. And you're walking here and saying, Peter Obi doesn't do conventions. Or he just goes there to be anointed. So, ADC will bleed after its convention because almost certainly Vice President will get the ticket.
And when he does?
And when he does, some people would walk out because
that's my crumble.
It would be severely damaged. Because they would need, we're talking about a few more months to an election. How much damage control can you do against a party that already it's got all this money, all these politicians, a lot of, and maybe some sensitive state institutions would also be.
Give me a moment, Dr. Baba Ahmed, because I need to go on a break. But when we come, there are also fundamental questions. And we'll be getting the northern perspectives through the election of 2027, especially if you critically analyze the Bola Tinubu government in their self.
See, the assumption that Atiku will just roll over and hand you the ticket of ATC is very childish. And by the way, I think at this point I should begin to charge. You know, I said it as the day he joined ADC. I said the man will move. I give him max 4 months. I said it this year. That in 4 months' time, I think I said in January, 4 months' time, Peter Obi will move away from ADC. I remember when he joined the ADC, I said they will leave. In January, when I started moving Korokoro, I said this man is going to leave in 4 months' time. Now he has left. The point is, you can tell, and you don't even have to be a prophet. You just have to observe the trends. There is no consistency. In other words, when you join parties, it's not to become a member of the party. It's to be handed the presidential ticket of that party. There's nothing like internal party. There's not like internal democracy. There's nothing like all of those things. Just give me, because your party is the vehicle I need to accomplish my own dream. In other words, all of you that are in that party before I got there and you have your things that you're trying to do, everybody had their own plans, so forget about what you want to do. I have a movement. I demand to be the president. Party primaries, forget about that. Just give him the ticket. If you cannot give him the ticket, he's out. We're going to go through the timeline of some of the things that Peter Obi has said in the past few years and how we got where we are today. We begin with this statement that he made about the fact that it is not necessary for people to jump from one party to another. And I'm doing this because someone said, are you trying to demarcate him? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing, and that's the thing, there is nothing, to be honest, if you still haven't seen this man for who he is, hopefully you're going to see from what we're going to play today. There's no consistency. For me, see, a person can change his mind. Like you can change your mind, right? You can decide, okay, I'm going this way, I want to change.
But if you're going to be a leader, you can't be moving every day. See, you will think with tomorrow in mind, right? You may change your mind, but for the most part, what you want to do is change your methods, not change your platforms. If you're moving from one party, you don't really care about the people. People are hungry. People, nobody, they don't care about anybody that's hungry. Anyway, we'll listen to him, tell us what we should do, how we should do it, and what he is doing as a political figure. Take a listen to His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi.
Politics is not about running from one place to the other. But when I see people jumping from here to here, or doing this, no. Leadership is you have to be consistent. Know what you said yesterday, you feel it today. Abner is strong, Abner is doing well, and I'm sure that he will continue to do well. I'm not one of those fanatics that runs around.
That is not one of those fanatics who run around. Like I said, politicians do what politicians do. What I don't like personally, right, is when you try to put other people down as though you are better than them, only for you to unravel and we discover that you are literally the same thing as Peter Gregory Obi. Take a listen to one of his political associates, and then you listen to what he said back in the day. Take a listen, please.
He knows because he took a vow that he will never leave Apuga. That any day he leaves Apuga, let his family die. Everybody in his family die. He said it now. But he still left Apuga. Why did he make such a vow? He's going for presidency. It will be a catastrophic case of that. It will not work. I'm the one telling you now.
And the reason is because of the vow.
Do you know what vow means? Should you are married? Are you married?
Leave my relationship status out of the meeting.
No, if you don't know are you married? Ask me, I'm married. I say my wedding ring. Are you married?
It doesn't really matter.
It matters now because if you are married, you must have taken a vow. And you must maintain the vow you took.
Back in the day that he would die with the party. And when he began to move, it was questioned about
rather quick politics. PDP is a curse to the Southeast. And you ran back, who also at the point said,
like I said, I don't know about the other people. That I want somebody to show me a tape where I made that comment. Every other person that's been quoted has been shown on tape. Mine was something that was.
Obi.
I will stay on. I will not leave. Get down.
So we demanded that the tape be played where he actually made that vow. And of course, that's the tape where he talked about it. But there's another interview where he talked about why he moved. So firstly, also play me that tape. Then he went to something else. Take a listen to this. And this is where he talked about the fact that it doesn't stay where there's problem. How do you lead when you can't stand the political party of how many 100 or 1,000 people? You want to lead a country of 200 and something million people, but you cannot stay with. Anyway, take a listen to him. Let him say it so that you hear.
The truth is that every party I've left, I've been pushed to leave. This morning, somebody asked me a question about something. I said, I don't stay where there's a problem. I've never known you, whether it's in private or or in public quarrel with people. I don't say. I would rather be the loser and be called a coward and go out of it in peace than stay where there's quarrel. So if people tomorrow say, we don't want to hear, I'll move on.
Now, here's the thing. Do I think you should stay where there's problem or quarrel? Maybe not. But at least, if you're going to move, create a structure that your followers will be able to find. You can't be a nomad and be a presidential material. Forget candidate. You cannot be the president of a country if you yourself don't even have any, you don't have any base. You are moving around like a nomad, just moving, you are here, you're there. Everybody who dropped their whatever in LP, insulted LP and moved to ADC, what happens to them now? Because you're a leader, you're supposed to be leading people, so if you had left and created a party, at least they'll be in that party. Is that not what she already did? He didn't have to leave any party anyway, but he created a party, and yes, he's the presidential candidate of that party. He's the presidential candidate of the party. Nobody will even go and meet him to say, Mofe contest is there. AAC, that's his party. Why did Peter Obi not create a party? He has had 4 years, since 2022. So let's even assume 2023 election happened, so he has only 3 years. So in the last 3 years, how come no party ever came up? Someone mentioned Aisha Yusufu. She wants to become a senator or be a senator in the ambassador rep. She has to represent Abuja. She's on ADC. She has to leave now because she's obedient. DRV has been campaigning for ADC. He too has to move. You see, that's something about being a leader. Many people are connected to your decision. And again, I'm not saying that every leader will be a perfect leader. Once you do something, if you make any mistake as a leader, let's burn you at the stake. That's not the point, though. Nobody, even Tinubu would have made certain mistakes and then find a way to. But you see, what you notice is consistency. It's not perfection, it's consistency. This man vacillates more than vacillator. Here. So as you are moving, everybody will follow you to this place. As soon as they are settling down, you don't move again. If they move, you still move again. What will now happen to, forget your ambition for a second as a leader. What happens to everybody jumping around with you? You see, some people went on social media the other day, they said, oh, it doesn't really matter, all I have is a voter's card, I don't belong to any party. That's okay for you. How about the people who actually why did it not float a political party? At least that way, those people will find home. There will be stability. And then their job will be to campaign for that party. Even if you call it obedience, whatever you call it. Why not have that rather than just be jumping over from one place to another? Meanwhile, these ones now, when would they begin? I know one guy. OTC flyer, OTC pinky. What happens to those ones? That's the issue. Stay with me. We're going to be listening to him. I'm just asking questions. Okay? Someone said I pity GRV Sha. I pity him as well. Because it's not even about winning Lagos election. Cannot win. But it's not even about that anymore. And I say cannot win because I don't want him to win. Okay? And I'm not against him as a person, but he's not governor material. Yeah. You can't, I mean, maybe in the future, but right now, no. But that's not even the problem now. The problem is not even whether it will win or not, is which party Loma and Loba is saying. Because I can assure you, Peter Obi is going to attack the ADC people very soon. He has started, by the way. I'll play that later. All right, where were we? So he said that if there's any problem anywhere, you don't port with that. How do you lead a group of people if you move at the first sign of trouble? That's the question. If I cannot see you manage a party in crisis, is it Nigeria where you have Boko Haram one place, you have ISWAP, you have IPOB, you have people just causing trouble over the place? Apart from you have security challenges, you have all kind of challenges that so here's the thing. how can you be surrounded by, I mean, you're not the one that caused the problem, or we are the president. So if they jump from party to party, say, problem, sir, you don't jump. What makes me think you'll be able to handle Nigeria? And Nigeria is a very, very difficult country to govern. Forget science. People that talk like that don't know jack. Lead the local government. In fact, lead your family first. This country is complex. And there is trouble. See, there are people right now that their job in life is to make sure things are difficult for Tinubu. Guess what? He cannot talk about it, even if he knows about it. He can't come out and say, I've been trying. Is this person that tried this thing? And that, you know how people, and people talks like that. And I'm wondering, how do you lead like this? Oh, is these people, they've started bombing places down. No, I don't know what are we now going to do? We're just going to sell the country at this rate. Anyway, so he said, anyway, that's what he said, okay? And now he talked about the fact that it's not even about him, it's the government's fault. But like I said, he's always outsourcing responsibility. It's someone else's fault. It can never be his fault. But maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. Take a listen, please.
Obviously, the ADC has the legal right to hold its events at those places. Why do you think it is being denied access to those?
You know that very well, Charles.
Well, I don't. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, well, obviously, the government doesn't want other parties to exist. They're not playing by the rules.
But what are the reasons those venues are giving you?
I don't know, just like you.
Right.
I don't know, but I believe that unless the party in power decides to support our institutions to be able to play their part, we'll be having such problems.
The ADC also...
I've not seen a more uninspiring person, but we'll listen to that. This was at the ADC event that was held a while back in Abuja. Take a listen, please. This is from Arise News. Take a listen, please.
National primary. Go and ask anybody. Nobody will ever tell you that people...
I hate that phrase. Go and ask anybody. Go and verify. Ask anybody. Go and do your research. People that talk like that are the most ignorant. In my own opinion, and my experience, they don't know jack. Once you go and ask anybody, go and verify. Ask anybody. Go and do your research. Nah lie. Nah lie. Nah lie. Anyway, this was what we were talking about. Primaries in ADC. Primaries. Listen to what he said at the time. Take a listen, please.
National primary. Go and ask anybody. Nobody will ever tell you that people gave money to vote for him.
What we saw in 2022 was that you said that the PDP primaries was dollarized, and then of course you jumped ship.
I said
it was a money primary. What if this one becomes dollarized?
It will not be because it's direct primary.
What if
it will never be? I can tell you. We are sure. We are sure, we are determined that it will never be. That we are a new set of people ready to sacrifice.
I am asking that if Atiku Abubakar becomes a presidential candidate here, what would happen?
Nobody will be everybody will emerge through a transparent primary.
All right.
I assure you of that primary. We want to build a new Nigeria. That Nigeria is the Nigerian that will be built on transparent primaries and good election, because we're going to rebuild the country. We want to start doing things properly. Can't you see our country collapsing today? You know what it means that we moved from number 8 in terrorism list in the past 3 years to number 4. We need to start fixing it. We need to fix our country. People are dying. Mothers, you can't travel to a village. And you're talking about transactional politics again. We want to keep transactional politics and make Nigeria work. We want to build a country where a child of nobody can be somebody without knowing anybody.
Right.
We want people to get jobs. Our children are all over the place looking for a job. They can't find food to eat. So and you're talking about
yes, wishing you well, sir. I'm hoping that you get a ticket. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. That was people the idea you get from that is that it will be involved in the primary bar, and that no matter what happens, it's going to work out fine. Okay, handicap. The man, I knew was going to move, and I'm glad he did not disappoint me. So yeah, that was Peter Obi talking about the fact that they're going to have primaries and they will, ask anybody. We're going to move away from that one to what he said about the fact that the federal government is the one disturbing them. Then I'll now play you what he said about the fact that he will change political parties as many times as possible. He even mentioned 20 times. Good evening, Ms. John. Thank you for joining us. All right, take a listen to Peter Obi talking about the federal government. What exactly is so special about Peter Obi that will make the federal government not just say what would have been honorable, right? Stay there. Whoever wins in that party. I mean, it could be you, they support you. If it's someone else, you support them. That's what you would expect. As a matter of fact, that's what former Governor Rotimi Amechi, that's what he said. Like, what? Do this primary elections. Whoever wins. Now, think about it, and this may sound very counterintuitive, but if Peter Obi had lost the primaries and stayed in the party, he supported whoever it is that won, he would have created a platform that nobody will be able to touch. Now, what I just said right now is difficult to even understand if you really think about it, but that's exactly what Tinubu did. He didn't even bother having primary. He just let them run. He let Ribadu run as presidential candidate of his party that he formed, though. He let Atiku Abubakar run on ACN. He formed that party. And Buhari's CPC. When it was time for ACN, what do you think will make a person just defer his own ambition or his own gratification till much later? By the time he was ready, people came around and said, forget the fact that people are shouting your name in some corners. I'm talking about people that can't make it work. What I said right now, and I've said it before, there are two ways, apart from something divine, there are two ways you can become president in this country. There's a third one, but that one is out of the control of human beings. But two, in control of humanity, one is in the hand of the divine. Those two ways. Number one, you have somebody who is fronting for you, who is like your godfather or like your mentor. Someone who says, come, you will do this. That's what happened to Goodluck Jonathan. Nobody was expecting him to become the vice president, let alone president of Nigeria. He was handpicked. I'm just saying that at that moment, that was not why he became that. It was because somebody picked him. If they pick you, that's okay. The second, and if they pick you, nobody really needs to know you. It's just somebody just believes in you. That's all it takes. Whatever, maybe they like your face, they like your name, they believe in you. Somehow they put you out there and say you're good. In fact, in some cases, they'll be the ones who even spend their money. They might have what they want at the end of the day, so that's between you and them. But for the most part, it's not because of your greatness. That's why when what happened in Rivers State happened, I was just laughing. People were insulting Wike. I was like, do you know what it takes for Wike? Do you know what it took him for the present governor? What's the name of this gentleman? Simnalai, our governor of Rivers State. You cannot tell Wike to just let it go. They created a platform. He ran on their platform. I mean, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just what it is. So someone else is pushing you or putting you out there. That's one. Yes, Simla Ifubara. Thank you. That's the governor of Rivers State. Whatever issues they now had, you cannot get there and say, I have an idea. Whatever idea you want to have it before they use their platform. Okay? May God give us wisdom. And I'm not saying it's easy, but you're using their platform, they will want something. The second one is to play the long game, which is what Tinubu did. As a matter of fact, the first example I gave is what happened to Obasanjo in 1999. He was not planning to become president of Nigeria in 1999. They picked him. Even President Olusegun Obasanjo, he was picked. It wasn't like, oh, we had this fantastic plan. He just came out of prison. Somebody has to be there. For the most part, Yellow showed you. Someone will be there and say, you know what, this guy, this woman, this man, you two can do it. Or maybe I've said something like you want to do something. Ah, yes, I'm going to make you sure you make it. Okay. The other one is the long game. Oh, Lebi Olara Omoya. But while you play the game, it might happen, it might take a while, but it will happen eventually. But there's a way they play it. I think has played that game and see how long it took. Not to become politically powerful, but to become president. On your way to the place you're going, you can become other things. E.g., Senator Olamide Konyayi is going, by the grace of God, is going to become the governor of Ogun State next year. Okay? He was member of House of Assembly in Lagos State 2003. Okay? Then I think he was there for 8 years. Then he went to Lagos. Then he went to, was it Lagos State or Lagos West? He was House of Assembly representative. Then he went to Senate Lagos West. Now he's in Senate Ogun West. Then he's going to become governor. Even if that's your goal, it might take a while, but and it could happen immediately. If you can't play, is Lagos West? Yes, it was. I think it was. Let me see if I can recollect. It was in House of Assembly. It was on the Mosho. Was representing at the Mosho. That's what happened in Lagos from 2003 to 2011. Then he went to House of Representatives for Lagos West. Then he went to Senate, Lagos West. Then now went to return to Senate, Ogun West, and now Ogun State Governor. The point is, let's say governorship in goal one, you will go through different things. But that long game, people have to be ready to play it. Unless, of course, you have somebody who is saying you can do it and going to push it. The third one is in the hands of God. God can just come and disrupt every analysis that we are saying and just say, you know what, this person is going to put it there. But there's no society that works that lives on miracles. You live on principles. You live on systems. That one that's the intervention of God, I don't know. We don't know how it can happen to anybody. I said all that to say that people who have nobody fronting, you know, I'm putting them out there, and who don't want to wait and, you know, play that long game, and are constantly comparing themselves with Tinubu, they are jokers. Tinubu has been playing these things for about 30 years. Yes, he was senator in 93. Yes, he was governor in 99. But that presidency, it's been on his mind for a while. But you have to build. You have to build. If you just do anything like that, they don't jump, they don't point to another party. They're the ones that will teach us about a new Nigeria is whatever they call it. I don't believe them one bit. Anyway, we'll listen to Peter Obi talk about, you know, before we listen to Peter Obi, I want to listen to something that Governor Rotimi Amaechi said.
My people don't fight. Have you seen that Mexico fighting on social media? It is between Atiku's people and Obi's people. And Obi's people abusing me. We never reply. It's not because we don't know English or we can't reply. The reason why we don't reply is that we always want peace. The obedience insists Obi or nothing. Do they have the numbers? That's the question. The Atiku people say Atiku or nothing. Do they have the numbers? You know, there are things you say when you win because it's difficult to bring everybody together. So because we know we will win, but not abusing everybody, so I can bring everybody together. So that question should not be asked to me because I'm not abusing anybody. I'm careful what I say. My team is under permanent instruction. Don't abuse anybody in ADC. Even Mr. President, not abuse president. Show the facts. When I came out here, what did I tell you? I said, compare me to P2B. We are governors at the same time. If he's a better governor, please choose him. Is that what I said? Although the former vice president was not a governor, but he was once a vice president. Compare my role as governor as minister, with the role he played as vice president, if he's a better person, please choose him. Right? Then I came to say, but I think I played more roles. I think I discharged more responsibilities. When you're sleeping, I'm running on this track, coming back to Lagos by 2 a.m., and you're sleeping. As minister from Ibadan, to make sure this job was completed on time, I wasn't sitting in my office and writing memo, or reading memo. I make sure that either once a month or twice a month, I'm on this track. When we are building Kaduna Kano, the same with Kaduna Kano. When we are building the same. I'm a practical man. I'm young. I'm on the street. I know what the problems are. I eat as a minister, as former governor. I eat in the same restaurant we eat. I don't go to all these big men restaurants because they don't give me the kind of food I ate when I was small. So this advice is to you people who are either.
Let's not listen to the governor's campaign speech, but he said something about the fact that when it's time to have the primary elections in AGC, they should choose whoever they feel has done, better as governor or VP or whatever. And I think that's where Peter Obi began to have a problem. And I'll tell you, if you go back, if you remember where we started with Akin Baba Ahmed, we talked about the fact that Peter Obi is shopping for automatic ticket. As soon as he began to hear on my vote, on my primary, vote primary, and then he said something very weird. He said that if he has to move 20 times, I didn't know he could say something like that, but maybe because I never thought he could get that bad. But he said it. I want you to take a listen to His Excellency again, Governor Peter Gregory Obi.
If I have to move, well, I don't have a long time in politics, but if I have a long time, if I have to do it 20 times, I'll do it exactly. I will not be part of, I cannot be talking about a change. I cannot be talking about something new while being process of the same thing. You cannot to build tomorrow. I've never been involved in any form of rigging of election at primary level, at the election itself, and after that. No, I've never been part of paying people in judiciary anywhere to give me judgment that I did not deserve. I've not been part of this. You can go as the last INEC chairman. I never met him for one day because he's a referee. I'm a player, and I expect the referee to come to the field and do his job very well. If he chooses to do it wrongly, so be it. But I cannot be preaching change and doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who support you would be re-inspired by what you just said. But you are, of course, now operating within the ADC. Yes. Can you realistically secure the ticket in a field that includes seasoned political heavyweights like Atiku Abubakar? And what happens if you don't? Would you be willing to step aside for a stronger coalition candidate in the interest of defeating the incumbent, President Tinubu?
Well, let me tell you the stance. We're a coalition. For me, what I believe that Nigeria requires now is a coalition of people who are willing to sacrifice everything. It's a coalition of competencies, coalition of capacities, coalition of people who are compassionate to tackle issues that Nigeria needs urgent attention today. That's what I see as that coalition. We are no longer going to be a coalition of people who are going to share democracy dividend or transnational coalition because there's nothing to share any longer. Whatever we're sharing now, the country is finished. We need to now be a coalition of people who are going to sacrifice everything to build tomorrow. And if that is the case, it will be easy. It is done in several countries of the world where coalition came together and for somebody to be part, to lead it. Example is in Indonesia. When Joko Widodo was chosen to be a presidential candidate, he was not chosen by his party. He was chosen by a coalition of parties that came together and said, this is our candidate. And because of it, other smaller parties joined in that coalition. But they believe he will do the work. Where we are now in Nigeria, it's time to hire qualified, competent person. Our recruitment process for 2027 must be different from what it used to be. Right. We must then get somebody who is committed to a future and a better Nigeria.
And do you see any person who is like that beyond yourself?
Well, like I said, we have a party now. I'm sure the party people will come together and decide. There might be somebody better.
Right.
There might not be. But whatever is the choice, it must be based on empirical, verifiable evidence that this person is better than Charles. So why should Charles be doing this program when we have a better person?
They said these people must have been re-inspired. Inspired by what exactly? By what? Because that doesn't sound to me like something inspiring. You notice they did not answer that question. Someone says he said a lot of things without actually saying anything. God bless you, Logic Vector. God bless you. What did he say? If someone else wins, what will you do? Go down. Because he's not expecting to compete. He's expecting to be granted the ticket. I don't know if he's going to get a ticket, but what we do know is that Peter Obi has now been welcomed into NDC. But before I mean, you know the news, you read the news, right? Where I talked about the fact that he has, in fact, let me read that news. Give me a second. Let me read it. Where I talked about the fact that he has, let me just read it. If you're looking for a rolling stone that gathers no moss, is this man. This is what he says. Peter, he says, "Hello Nigerians, good morning. I woke up," by the way, this was yesterday, was on Sunday, okay? He said, "Fellow Nigerians, good morning. I woke up this morning after my church service with a deeply reflective heart, and despite every constraint, I felt compelled to share these thoughts with you. Many people do not truly understand the silent pains some of us carry daily, the private struggles, emotional..." Isha wrote all kinds of things, and most of it, as far as I'm concerned, gibberish. That's why I said, what did Charles mean by he would have inspired people? He started by talking about the fact that he carries a burden. What does he want you to do with that? In fact, he started by saying that he just woke up after his church service. I should read. I thought you must have read it too. So I don't like reading uninspiring stuff, but I'll read it since you want to hear. So he started by saying, "Fellow Nigerians, good morning. I woke up this morning after my church service with a deeply reflective heart, and despite every constraint, I felt compelled to share these thoughts with you. Many people do not truly understand the silent pains some of us carry daily, the private struggles, emotional burdens, and quiet battles we face while trying to survive and serve sincerely in difficult circumstances. We now live in an environment that has become increasingly toxic, where the very system that should protect and create opportunities for decent living often works against the people. A society where intimidation, insecurity, endless scrutiny, and discouragement have become normal. More painful is when some of those you associate with, believing you would find understanding and solidarity among them, become part of the pressure you face. Some will publicly identify with you, privately distance themselves, or join in unfair criticism. On top, say you won't leave party. We start by telling us, say you go church, because all of us will be, church take back your country. After telling you about the part that you say you don't go church, you can't tell us waiting they happen to you. It's not about you. It's not about your issues. Like nobody, listen, leadership is crazy. There's nothing fun about it. I mean, it's cool at a particular level, but it's crazy. You're the leader. You want to make a... they are doing something to me. The people that you expect to have compassion, they don't have compassion. The country is... Who cares from you? The thing is that, let's say the people are experiencing that. That's why they're looking up to you for direction. Not so that you can now join them in crying about what is happening. Anyway, let's just keep reading. It says here that we live in a society where humility is mistaken for weakness. Says, you want me to read this in Abi? Let me just tell you that this is the hardest thing I'm doing today. But I'll read it. We live in a society where humility is mistaken for weakness, respect is seen as lack of courage, and compassion is treated as foolishness. A system where treating people equally is questioned simply because you refuse to worship status, tribe, class, or power. Personally, I have never looked down on anyone except to uplift them. I have never used privilege, position, or resources to oppress others, intimidate the weak, or make people feel small. To me, leadership has always been about sacrifice, service, and helping others rise. Let me state clearly, my decision to leave the ADC How did we go from that to let me state clearly? If you are following this man, please pray to God that He should reveal Himself to you because you need it. Let me state clearly. By the way, please don't be annoyed, dude. The only way I can read this thing is to stop and say something because this thing. Let me state clearly. My decision to leave the ADC is not because a highly respected chairman, Senator David Mark, treated me badly, but because my leader and elder brother, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, or any other respected leaders did anything personally wrong to me. I will continue to respect them. However, the same Nigerian state and its agents that created unnecessary crisis and hostility within the Labour Party that forced me to leave now appear to be finding their way into the ADC with endless court cases, internal battles, suspicion and division, instead of focusing on deeper national problems and playing politics built more on control and exclusion than on service and nation building. Even within spaces where one labors sincerely, one is sometimes treated like an outsider in one's own home. You and your team become easy targets for every failure, frustration, or misunderstanding, as though honest contribution has become a favor being tolerated rather than appreciated. Guys, I'm sorry. I'll send you the link, read it yourself, because this is just depressing. But let me just try. And when you choose to leave, so that those you are leaving can have peace, and you step out into the cold, you are still maligned and your character is questioned. Despite all your efforts to continue working for a better Nigeria and engaging people with sincerity and goodwill, those who do not wish you well continue to attack your character and question your intentions. There are moments I ask God in prayer, why is doing the right thing often misconstrued as wrongdoing in our country? Why is integrity not valued? Why is the prudent management of resources, especially when invested in critical areas like education and healthcare, wrongly labeled as stinginess? Why are humility and obedience to the rule of law often taken to be weakness rather than discipline? Let me assure all that I am not desperate to... This guy is funny. Oh boy. Let me laugh to keep from crying. Let me assure all that I am not desperate to be president. What other things do desperate people do? Oh God.
Let me drink water. We'll drink water, drop cup. Lamba. Let me assure all that I am not desperate to be president, vice president, or senate president. I am desperate to see a society that can console a mother whose child has been kidnapped or killed while going to school or work. I'm desperate to see Nigeria where people will not live in IDP camps but in their homes. I'm desperate for a country where Nigerian citizens do not go to bed hungry, not knowing where their next meal will come from. Yet, despite everything, I remain resolute. I firmly believe that Nigeria can still become a country with competent leadership based on justice, compassion, and equal opportunity for all. A new Nigeria is possible. B.O. I need to clap for myself, please. That was torture. I celebrate myself. That was torture. Boy, if I ever read anything more uninspiring in my life, like there's nothing to even hold on to. Nothing inspiring, nothing visionary, nothing, just depressing. See what they've done to me, see what they're doing to me. I'm going to leave the party, but it's not because I don't respect people, but see what they're doing, see what they've done. Boy, I'm not desperate, but I'm desperate. I'm not really desperate for president, but I'm desperate to see IDP close down. Me, I'm just happy. Someone says it's never finished. It better finish. It has finished. It has signed. A new Nigeria is possible. Or to sign. Guys, I need to take a second to thank. Let me use the opportunity to thank all my fans. I feel like I accomplished something great just reading that thing because it's depressing. And I'll tell you, and I'm not even joking. You see, when people make decisions, right? You want to. Again, you can move from party to party, even though it's. Peter Obi should not be changing parties. 6 million votes. I said it last election. I said, regardless of what happened, he's a force now. I'm talking 2023. This man, he's a force. Like, you don't have to like him. 6 million is not 6,000 though. Regardless of why people voted, people were angry across Nigeria, NSAS, all those things. In the Southeast, they forced people. He got 90% in some states. He got 87-point-something% overall, aggregate score across the Southeastern region. He did this to that regardless. 6 million is a lot. It's a statement. And it's not going to happen again. General Buhari had 12 million votes. It was the MPP. Eventually created a structure to keep that thing going. And even then, even though he had 12 million, he never really became president until there was collaboration with Asiwaju. And then, because numbers alone don't count. Numbers mean something, but they don't work alone. You need spread. Okay, you need spread across Nigeria. So if you don't have that spread, even if you have, Peter Obi never did what Buhari did. Buhari got 12 million. Peter got 6. 6 is a lot, but 12 is a lot more than 6. You know that. 12 million is a lot. But even with 12 million, first time, second time, third time, he did not become president. Buhari had to do it 4 times. That's somebody who is even in one party. Yes, moved from AMPP and then they created their own party, CPC, and they just kept pushing and pushing. In that same place, it didn't come. You are jumping from one place to another. I think having 6 million shows that people actually believe in you. Although I don't like the fact that they believe in you, because I don't see anything to believe in. And I apologize if you think that is, insulting. But the truth of the matter is that there's nothing inspiring. You just read this. This is depressing. I felt, even me, I felt virtue went out of me. Like Jesus said, virtue just, But we have done it. So the point is, at least, start a party. I will still come against you because it's politics. We'll oppose you because we don't want you to become president. But at least, you know how you do sports, right? You don't want your opponent to win. But after winning, doesn't mean you're going to disrespect your opponent. You get the point? So you have that sportsmanship. That's what politics is really about.
you should win, but if you don't win, even the person who wins doesn't have the winner takes all mentality. You are still like, okay, good run, like you did well. I won, no, but I respect you for what you've done, and I respect Peter Obi for what happened last election. He did well. 6 million is not small. But once the structure is going to make that work again, obedient movement. We're going to discuss that tonight. Zikism and obedient movement. That's our topic for today. You see how the two are very linked. Anyway, so he gave us this very long. I don't even understand who writes. I want to just advise people in politics in Nigeria, please employ. I don't know whether it's PR people or scriptwriter or whatever. Please employ people that can help you with these things. There's no way the first part of this speech has anything to do with I am leaving the party. There is no connection. There is no congruence. It's just everywhere is. You start with pity me. I'm a victim of this. I'm a victim of that. We are victims, minus me, Sharon. So he's saying that they are victims. So pity him. He's a victim. They are victims. He's leaving the party. He's a victim of Nigeria. He's not. He usually prays to God and asks, what is wrong with the right thing of whom is construed as wrongdoing in our country? Why is integrity not valued? Why is the prudent management? What kind of rubbish is this? Chibuzo says, Busui, I will pay you 30 million to join NDC. I don't know you, but respectfully, to hell with you and your money. Rather. You have 30 million naira. Listen, it's not about money. It's about money. I could join, but not because of it. But the point is, why would I join NDC? Okay, if I ask you right now, what's the ideology of NDC? And to be honest, most Nigerian political parties, no ideology. You can move from one place to another, doing the rotation. These are the same thing. But to join the NDC, the only reason I can even begin to speak favorably by NDC is if they adopt President Tinubu as a presidential candidate. You will even need to pay me. I'll be telling you how great, at least what they are doing, that thing they are doing, I'll tell you how great it is. But 30 million, you get 30 kobo for account. You're a joker. You are a joker. So no, forget about money, Sha. I mean, yeah, I can be a bit harsh with that. I think it was a bit harsh. You said you should go to hell with your money, but don't go to hell. But I don't need your money. Pocket it. Not easy to help your people back home. May God bless you and your family. In Jesus' name we pray. You not go to hell in Jesus' name. Say amen. All right. Having dealt with the person that was giving, better go and add the money to the thing you are selling. You will need it. Anyway, let's go back to, because you need that money is good to be good for your business. Let's go back to NDC. So Peter Obi has told us why he's moving, and it's quite interesting. And this is what happened last night. Please take a listen.
The tutelage of the leader of this party, and we don't do anything until it is commanded. First and foremost, we want to present to Your Excellency, distinguished Senator Rabiu Kwakwansi. On the other hand, ably supported by our leader, we present to the in-law that have already been accepted the membership card of the NDC. As a symbol of your entry, this is what we decorate you with. It's also and decorate the reigning principality.
So that was and this, injunctions and stuff. The person I felt for the most was Rabi Kwakwanso, because he literally just joined ADC.
I'm happy for him that he has moved to NDC. I have no problem with him at all. Okay? Why? Because they'll play politics as politics, right? They'll just play. They'll play, put their best. If they win, they win. They lose, you respect what they've done. Not person be shouting, "Church, take back your country," destroying, just being divisive, and then turning around to call people tribal. It's just unnecessary. Anyway, so that was how he was welcomed into the party, and then he gave a speech that I think you should listen to. With folks in NDC surrounding him. Take a listen to Peter Obi.
Out of poverty, because we want to build a country where a child of nobody can be somebody without knowing anybody. That is what we want to do. But we are using this occasion to plead to the government of today. You know that I contested election in every different party. But the government left that place to NDC.
Let him comfort a bit.
We are already told us we are meeting with them. For sake of democracy, please don't come here. So we can face the job of building a new Nigeria that is possible. So we can change the job of caring where our country is deteriorating today. Just yesterday, I saw a third world developing country, Bangladesh, order for the highest order of plane, 14 new planes at $3.7 billion. Our country has no national carrier. So we want to start building. Please, let there be no litigation. Party members, please don't go to court. We are not lawyers. Those of us who are lawyers want it to be good practitioners. What we want is party. We will lock doors. We'll be warmly welcome. Things will work well for this party.
Sorry, there's some parts to play that, but there's another clip that I think is a bit clearer. Take a listen, please.
They have ensured that they put up crisis upon crisis, which led to litigations and everything in our party that made us to abandon those parties and move to join another party, while thinking that our situation will abate. But what we saw is that they carried the same problem to where we went to, creating several unresolved litigations and everything. And today, we've left that place to NDC, where the leader have already told us no litigation. We are pleading with them. For sake of democracy, please, don't come here. We are pleading with you. We want to have this, we want to build the party. We don't want. We are pleading with the judiciary. Please end cases in parties so we can face the job of building a new Nigeria that is possible.
Yes,
so we can change the job of caring where our country is deteriorating today. Just yesterday, I saw a third world developing country, Bangladesh, order for the highest order of plane, 14 new planes at $3.7 billion. Our country has no national carrier. So we want to start building. Please, let there be no litigation. Party members, please don't go to court. Yes. We want to build a party. We are not lawyers. Those of us who are lawyers want it to be good practitioners. Yes. What we want is a party. We will lock doors. We'll be warmly welcomed. Things will work well for this party.
Sorry, I'm laughing because someone in the comment section says, are you sure Peter Obi is not from Bangladesh? He's not a citizen of Bangladesh. China. Yes, always. I don't know what is it with. Maybe it's container. It's China, Bangladesh, Indonesia. I have to mention something from the Far East. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Someone says, Honorable says, honestly, I'm tired of this man. He has nothing to offer himself, let alone the country. Sinchin says probably he's from Bangladesh because his ethnicity claimed to have developed the Garden of Eden, Europa, and so on. You are joining a party in May 2026. Elections are less than 1 year. You are saying you are joining the party to build the party. You have come to build. As per above the builder, no, you have come to look for a platform that you can easily use. And I hope, I don't even know if I want him to get the ticket or not. But I hope they don't have crisis in the new party. That's the real prayer. It's not even about the ticket because they were okay before they went to join them. So I hope they don't have any problems. And whoever their primary, whoever their presidential candidate is, may they run, may they have good health, may they do well, may they not win. Because I want President Tinubu to win, but I want that person to do well, I want them to have a great family and great health and good run, okay? But I want Tinubu to win. Anyway, that's the journey of Peter Obi. Need to sit down and rethink, okay? You can't be following someone who is not consistent, who's moving from one place to another, who is, changing platforms at like at the smell of the faintest smell of trouble is out. Okay, that kind of person cannot lead a nation. Okay, that doesn't mean they can't lead other things, but not a nation, because whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Okay, and this is not the prayer that we want for Nigeria, but just the reality of where Nigeria is. And you need a person who has staying power, who is able to say, you know what, this is difficult, but we're going to find a way through it to actually lead the country. Not someone who says, oh, they're having problems, they have to leave. That doesn't sound to me like a leader, personally. And also, if you say you want to do this democratic, you should stick to it, right? And see it through. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Once you begin to join from one place to another, you've not even been able to test yourself within that place. And I'll tell you why it's difficult. If you can't test your popularity in your party, what that means basically is this: when it's time to go out there, there's no structure that you're going to be banking on. Because you need the party to, that's why when they were saying the other day, you don't have structure. Say we have structure of criminality. It's not about structure of criminality. It's about the fact that who will be at the polling units? It's not obedient. Did they stay at the polling units the last time? Everybody will be shouting LUP is 72, LUP is 73. That is what you'll be doing. You'll be singing. It takes more than that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it takes more than that. You need to have your party present in places. But anyway, hopefully he's going to get this from NDC and he'll be able to run. But like I said, I wish all of them all the best. I hope they do well and that they succeed in their primaries. If they have anything like that, may they get the money they require to run the election, but may they not win because Tinubu has to win. May Nigeria work for all of us. Thank you very much for listening to that. All right, thank you very much. We just listened to the consistency of Peter Obi's inconsistency. By the way, we have a video up. Just got up earlier today. If you want to check it out on YouTube much later, it's Dirty Okonkwo Wike versus Peter Obi. The food is ready. It's a compilation of some of the conversations that we had or that we got online last week with different people talking about his move. Maybe we're going to listen to that before we go. I just want to see how, or we'll probably talk about it some other day. But if you want to watch it, you can just check it out on YouTube. I'll just read some of the comments, and then if anybody wants to come up, we have some minutes. I'll bring people up. Tomorrow we're going to have a full session, right? It's one of the things that Peter was talking about in that video. It turns out he was lying. When he says things like, I've never used money to do anything, we've never bought anything, it's a lie. There was, shall I call it an altercation between one group and Peter Obi's camp over the weekend, where that group claimed, that a particular person claimed to have been the founder of Obedient Movement, and now they're saying they've disbanded the movement and they've sacked Peter Obi and removed him from the group, and they're changing the I in Obedient to E. Anyway, one of Obi's right hand folks, he then called those people out and called that particular person out and said, oh, you helped us mobilize people, and here's the receipt of the amount you were paid. Turns out they've been paying people. All right, the whole idea of we don't give shishi is actually just the figment of some people's imagination, or the narrative that's been sold to the clowns who follow the ridiculous narrative. We'll discuss all that tomorrow. But before we go, I'll just read some of the comments that we have in the comment section here. Let's start with Mimi Joe Israel on YouTube. It says Obi supporters are fascists who do not believe in freedom of choice or even freedom to think and decide by individuals. They hate people being able to choose. And that's the thing. And it's funny, right? You have a strategy that worked until it stopped working, and you're going back to that strategy. It shows you're not learning anything. But I wish them all the best. I'm very sure they're going to be shocked to see what will happen in the next election. Mimi also says every democratic-minded person in Nigeria should be alarmed by the toxicity of Obi supporters and their disdain for democracy. Yeah, all they want is to have Obi. I think the plan is to insult the rest of us into making Obi president. Maybe if you get insulted to a particular point, just be like, I don't want to be bullied anymore, and now go and vote Peter Obi. You have to be very daft to think in that, in that direction. I think that will work. It's not going to work. I put a picture in that video we just put out where somebody said, Yorubas are slaves and the houses are cows, and it's time for Igbo presidency. And I was like, are you going to vote for yourself? Are you not going wouldn't you need the same people you're calling cows and slaves to vote for you? It's the total lack of awareness that certain folks have, but it's okay. You might say Obi has successfully created a fascist movement of zombies with no reasoning brain and mindset. Wow. He's an opportunist, always looking for where the bread is buttered. He will be disappointed in 2027. I'm looking forward to that. And then we have an obedience here with a very long message, but he started by insulting, by being insulting. So I'm not going to read what you have to say. If anybody in 2027 is still unsure about President Tinubu having gone to school or having a certificate, that person is actually the one who needs to get their brain checked. It's quite interesting, right? Even folks who went to Chicago to go confirm. By the way, how would you work in mobile, right, without that kind of background? Are you going to lie your way are you going to lie your way into the organization and up the ranks? Are you going to lie your way into the organization and up the ranks? Like, it doesn't really make sense. And I don't think people are really thinking about the totality of the ridiculousness in what they're saying, but they'll be all right. All right, I'm going to come on YouTube now. Akador says people sub-zero emotional intelligence. I think that's what is actually going on. It's the same thing that happened with the OK Joe guy, and I think we should listen to that video. Maybe we will much later. The one who went to sponsor 24 out of 29 people, and went to sponsor 29 people to study abroad, and 24 out of them are Igbos. All right. And this man is supposed to be using the money that actually belongs to Lagos State. Right. That constituency, or should this sort of constituency in Lagos State, is using the money to send Igbo people to school. People don't have emotional intelligence, social awareness. Very, very. I mean, it's either that or something very negative I don't want to mention, but it's all right. Ojulari Akoni says, I look more like Atiku. It looked more like Atiku played Obi to use in effectively reducing PBAT votes for South Nigeria. No. Atiku, see, anyone, I mean, you don't even have to be, I mean, it's basic common sense. If you look at the way Atiku has been moving, he's not going to give you his party's tickets now. The good thing, though, is that he was willing to have primaries. Peter Obi will not, be part of any primary, but we'll see how that pans out. Akadol says at best it brings nuisance value to national politics. Well, everybody has his place. Lagos says a wash toilet on BA flight. I mean, everybody has talent. And Giki says, I guess a madman gave him that idea. Now I'm going to have to stop. But to be fair, it was one who said the madman gave him an idea, so I think all is fair as far as that is concerned. Anyway, I'll just see if we have anybody. We'll bring one or two people up, and then we'll call it a day. Again, I apologize, it's a bit shorter, but tomorrow it's going to be longer. In terms of the lady has gone. All right. Now I feel a bit awkward. I want to let you go. So let's do it this way. Give me a second. I think, can you still hear me? I think we should listen to this other one because we still have some time. Someone says, what time are we starting tomorrow? It's 4 p.m. every day. 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Let's listen to the second one. But the only thing is after this one, we will not be able to bring people up because it's quite long. It's about 41 minutes. But it aligns with the conversation we're having. And this is a reaction, or this is essentially a collection of reactions from some of the people that have worked with him in the past. And this one, I'm going to show you the thumbnail. All right. This one has to do with the food is ready stuff. Let me show you before we move on. Let's change the image. It feels good though, but I think we should have a few more minutes before we go. All right, so hopefully by 7 we can round up. All right, yeah, so we have the session every weekday, Mondays to Fridays, 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. I'd like us to listen to this one. But like we always do, I'm going to read the description, then we can have a feel. The recent exit of Peter Obi from the African Democratic Congress to the newly registered Nigeria Democratic Congress (NDC) has triggered. Let me just start all over again. The recent exit of Peter Obi from the African Democratic Congress (ADC) to the newly registered Nigeria Democratic Congress (NDC) has triggered a wave of condemnation from his closest former allies. This move, marking his third party change in less than 6 months, has forced even his most ardent supporters to question the sustainability of his presidential ambition. His former vice presidential candidate Yusuf Dati Ahmed recently issued scathing remarks regarding this pattern of flight. Dati Ahmed, who has since defected to the People's Redemption Party (PRP), suggests that receiving a presidential ticket on a platter should inspire a commitment to build. Yet Obi chose to abandon the Labour Party rather than resolve the internal rifts he was meant to lead. Nyesom Wike has added a sharp edge to this critique, describing Obi's strategy as a food is ready style of politics. The Minister of the FCT insists that the constant migration from APGA to PLI's political institutions. Wike argues that this mama put approach to governance, where a candidate only stays where the table is set, identifies a fundamental lack of leadership prowess. This sentiment is echoed by Obi's erstwhile spokesman, Kenneth Okonkwo, who recently revealed on Arise Television that he warned the ADC leadership not to build anything on Obi, predicting he would flee the moment he faced a contested primary. The contrast with established political figures remains a primary point of debate for Nigerians. Bola Tinubu built the ACN from the ground up and navigated the complex coalition that formed the APC. But eventually, even he had to subject himself to a rigorous and highly contested primary. The famous Emilokon speech was a product of that willingness to stay and fight within a party structure. Nigerians must now confront the reality that a candidate who avoids internal friction at all costs may lack the stamina for the 2027 political alignment, as who refuses to stabilize a party ever hope to stabilize a nation. Here is Dati Okonkwo Wike vs. Peter Obi. The food is ready. Politics. Enjoy. A few days ago, a video was trending, and it was Dati Ahmed Baba, who was being interviewed, and he had some interesting things to say about the development in ADC, particularly as regards Peter Obi. And I thought, that might be a good place to start a conversation on politics. But I will listen to another person much later. All right, please take a listen to this.
And in the presence of this situation, you will have a mix of the two options you gave. Thank you.
Principal, yesterday, along with Senator Rabi Kopansu, we are welcome into NDC. There have been a lot of talk. That was why I asked the question about maybe backing of a single presidential candidate. A lot of people are rallying the North. They are calling on the North to actually, if possible, either collapse their structure or form an alliance to back. They call it okay. This choice of okay. We don't know whether you are equally okay with that idea.
Okay. I, as much as possible, try to avoid names of anybody at this stage, or the politics of everyone. But it is very unlikely that the North will rally around KO. Okay. It's, and this is my personal opinion. I still have an excellent relationship. I have much respect for both of them. I did say that I feel guilty because I was the one who told Peter Obi on the 31st of January 2024 in John Wood's hotel, after asking him a few things, and I told him, Your Excellency, from this point, there is Kwankwaso, there is El Rufai, and there's another person. I would like to suggest you approach them. The business that I do now, which started around 2011, I was planning it as far back as 1996. If in 2024 you cannot plan 2027, I'm sorry, I cannot continue to be with you. I recommended, and to God, he knows this happened. So they are going together now with Concourse. So it's my idea. Do you understand? Will it work? I think it's a big question. We wait and see. However, there is a bit, there is, remember, why didn't Kwankwaso support Peter Obi in 2022, 23? What changed between 2022 and 23? Then the demographics of Nigeria, where you're looking for new blood, for new generation. You have a vice president that is older than you, first of all in age, in education, in political profile, in so many other things. The local government is nearly his state. The state is nearly his region. And this is somebody with a burning ambition and temperament. Correct. Who is going to be the president, actually? if you are presenting a ticket throughout history, there's a certain configuration that it goes. The respect that I still carry for Obi is because of the fact that we have that configuration. So even though I recommended Konkoso for Obi, as at the time I was doing that, I didn't really deeply reflect in all these political dynamics until it came now. I mean, how will Kanu think that their champion who has serially wanted to be the president, serially wanted to be, will now go and how many votes? I know we got nearly 25% in Kano before the results were changed, from one of their champions who is now going to serve as deputy. And then the intricacies of, all right, certainly 2031 is mine. That doesn't play out well in any political contest. And then consistency is good. As much as I don't believe in, I dislike what APC has been doing against Nigeria. But then someone who got Labour Party ticket so easily should have stayed to fix the problems of Labour Party work, however difficult they were. I stood and I earned the wrath of many because I said, come and reconcile in Labour Party. Only for me to hear, to read it, and to even view it in the news. Here's my former leader, my boss, whom I believed in so much, saying that wherever there's a quarrel, he will walk away. So there's a quarrel in Nigeria. You'll walk away? These are things that don't add up. These are things that don't add up. A leader must be firm. However gentle you are as a leader, you must be willing to fight. Where is the first place you fight as a leader? When they are going to steal your victory, you don't allow it to happen in 2023. Clear constitutional breach. They left only one person, me, fighting the constitutional breach. Only one person. Nobody spoke about the constitutional breach. Only me. You don't do that. You stop. You must fight at that point. If you're not ready to fight, don't even come out. Stay in your house. You're going into politics, which is a contact sport. In a country like Nigeria that is so diverse, so heated, and you don't want to quarrel or you don't want to argue, then this is not your game.
So it looks like right-thinking people are saying the exact same thing. You can't claim to be a person willing to become the president of Nigeria and claim to be a leader, and you're the one running away from challenges, and you say things like, wherever there's quarrel, that can't be there. Perhaps you should be, entertaining people as a clown, because that way, hopefully, even then, there could be quarrels. It's the way of man. Like, people just do things. Your job as a leader, right, is to step in and resolve crisis. Crisis resolution is part of leadership, and it doesn't mean it's easy. I wouldn't even be the one, unlike Peter Obi, who says politics is not rocket science. It is rocket science. Because whenever you have social sciences, sometimes it can be more difficult than rocket science or like pure science, because human beings are involved. They can be unpredictable as much as they can be predictable. In fact, the unpredictability is the predictability that you can really stand with. You can be sure that this person may not be predictable because he's human. All right. And when they come with their wala as a leader, you don't run away and say, I don't want quarrel. His vice presidential candidate in the last election is coming up to say that that's not how leaders should be. You can't run away from quarrels. You can't run away from trouble if you want to claim to be a leader. Even someone wrote there, even if you're married, as a married person, you have conflict in your marriage now. As a parent, especially when your children become teenagers, it's another round of crisis and conflict resolution. And if you have teenage kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They will think that they can tell you and know everything. The point is, you cannot run away from your home because you don't want to, because there's quarrel. Like, it doesn't make sense, especially if you claim to be a leader. All right? But it's not only his vice presidential candidate who had that to say about Peter Obi. His spokesperson and campaign manager Kenneth Okonkwo also said something similar. And that was even before this. I'm going to play you what he said before this, and then I'll play you what he said after Peter moved to NDC. This is Kenneth Okonkwo. Please take a listen to him.
If you're a leader, you're in such a party, you have 2-3 options. The first one is, if you see that these people are criminals, the way you want to paint them now, you leave the party if you can't solve the problem as a leader, so that your followers will not be confused, and so that you don't get so close to the time of the next election that you would have nothing to do about it. Now, you did not leave. You remain with them. Why? Because you're in cahoot with them in everything they're doing. In all the primaries that the Aburedem organized, none was organized without Obi's approval, whether in Imo, whether in Edo, whether in Ondo, and now in Anambra. And that was how Obi campaigned for all the candidates that came out of it. So you're in cahoot with these people in private. In public, you want to paint another image. No, you're just being a politician of convenience, not a politician of conviction. So where does Kenneth Okonkwo come into this?
Someone says, Obi that said he doesn't mind if it... Are you sure, Bent, are you sure that he said this? He said he doesn't mind if his wife cheats. That shows how weak he is. Are you sure he said that? Anyway, I won't say what I think until I'm sure he said. Even if I'm sure, I probably will not say what I'm thinking right now, because really, wow. Anyway, the minister of FCT, yes, he said that honest podcast. He really did. A lot of people are confirming that he said it too. Wow. Wow. I have a theory, but I ain't going to share it. I mean, so I won't talk about it. But it's, and you want to become the leader of you can't say something like that now. Even if you call it honesty, it's not a very smart thing. Wow. Anyway, may God help him in his family life. Let's listen to I'm going to come back to Kenneth Okonkwo, because he had like a proper conversation yesterday where he went deep on Arise News. We're going to get into all of those things. But we want to take a very quick stop to listen to the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, speak on this person who keeps going from one party to another in the name of not liking quarrels. Please take a listen.
Obi was an Abga. He couldn't build Abga. Crisis. What is called in leadership? Leadership is for you to stand up to challenges and see how you settle those crises. He left Abga. He came to PDP. He ran away PDP. So there's one man in PDP who dominated everything. He went to Labour. Labour had crisis. You could also use your leadership skill, your leadership prowess, to put Labour together. You ran away again from Labour. You went to ADC. Now ADC had problem. Oh, I don't know what's happening there. You ran away from ADC again. You are now in NDC. All you are looking for, food is ready. Food is ready. Mama put, food is ready. Anywhere, who will stabilize if you cannot stay and stabilize? Why the people are called not run away from PDP? Why all the giants with the huge allocation of money they have will split them to say we will leave?
Whatever you want to say about Nyesom Wike, you can say it, but one thing you cannot say is that he runs away from a fight. And he's very correct in this particular matter. He is very correct. You can't be running around and saying food is ready. What does it mean by food is ready? I want to tell you, but instead of telling you, I want Kenneth Okonkwo to be the one to explain the meaning of food is ready. Please take a listen to the former spokesman for Peter Obi himself. This is Kenneth Okonkwo talking about, I almost call it the definition of food is ready. Please take a listen to this.
Let me reveal one secret to you. The first day I was consulted in this coalition, and that was before the unveiling, they asked me, so how is the possibility of ADC performing in the Southeast? I told them plainly and straight away, don't build anything on P2B, because he's not going to contest under ADC, because he will eventually leave. Why was I so sure? because he's a man that has morbid fear for primary election. He has never been in one, and he will not be in one until he finishes his political career. He became a governor. He entered into primary election. He failed and lost to Ralph Mosu in Apga. And then he still managed to find the leaders to cancel that primary, and they still gave him the ticket. That was how he became governor. And so when he gave the reason of challenges, of course, he lied, because his main reason is that he does not want to face the primary election. And let me tell you another thing, because ADC was fully prepared to convince the whole world that P2B is not interested in democracy. When he came into ADC, he gave a condition that he should be allowed to produce the National Organization Secretary, National Organizing Secretary, NOS. And the reason he gave is that so that he will be the one to conduct the primary. And ADC said, fine, take. When we were doing the e-registration, P2B again and his followers asked to be in charge of the e-registration. And that was why they put my sister, Aisha Yusuf, to be in charge and Obi aid, so that all the members of ADC in the primary will be determined by P2B. And then P2B was to organize the primary. That was why you did not hear him say, this primary is dollarized, is monetized. That's the reason I'm going. Because he was to be the one to organize the primary. Yet, he was still afraid of free and fair election. Not, of course, of zoning. Because he went to even southern aspirants in order for them to step down for him. So he's a man who is afraid of free and fair primary election.
So I think we understand what Nyesom Wike was saying when he talked about food is ready. And that's what Kenneth Okonkwo just explained. Somebody will count the part of the competition. That primary election scope for primary, just tell me that food is ready, collect the ticket. And for a person who was so blessed to just get the ticket of Labour Party on a platter of gold in the last election, I think he should have stayed. I think it would have become a statesman. It would have become a, what's the word now? Like a rock, so to speak, in Labour Party. It would have become his home. They could have done anything they wanted to do. They could have built it. And I said something else that is very true. Regardless of how I feel about him, I mean, no matter what party he joins, he will not win. I want Tinubu to win. I've said this several times. I'm not all this. I'm not party. I want Tinubu to win. No matter what party he joins, he will lose. But he will still gain my respect. I'll give you an example. I mentioned it yesterday. President Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari, he tried 4 times. It was on his 4th try that he became president. He was getting 12 million votes, like lera. Peter Obi got 6 million. It's not even up to Buhari's own, but even 6 million is a lot. Buhari got 12 million votes. But he couldn't become president until, because see, the way the Nigerian Constitution works and the Electoral Act is that, yes, you can have a lot of numbers, but you also have to have spread. 2/3. You have to have that spread. If you don't have the spread, even if you have 1 billion people voting for you, it will not mean anything. Now, he worked with that group. He didn't just cut everything. He was building, momentum. So yes, he created CPC. He stayed in his party. It was an AMPP, that's Buhari, moved to CPC that he created. It was in CPC, I think they went twice, right? That was the second time was when he went with Pastor Sunday Bakare. And then he now worked with ACN to create APC. In other words, he's coming to that place, not just with a movement, but with a party structure. There are 2 things going on at the same time. There's the movement, which talks about how popular you are with the people. There's a party structure that actually assures you of being able to get in the game, and you have people who will actually mount. That's what we're saying the other time, structure. Right, you have the structure. People will be at the polling booths. People that will man the polling booths for you. You just be shouting a structure of criminality all over the place like a naive, neophyte. You know exactly how difficult things can be. You need a party structure. You need to have people that can ensure that not just you becoming president, but you also have, people that can get into the National Assembly, whether it's the Senate or the House of Representatives, so that they will be able to help you when it's time to make the laws. They won't stop you when it's time for budget. All those things, you have to think beyond yourself, right? And Buhari was doing that until he was able to now work with Ashwaju, and now, you know, they got APC and then he became president. If Peter Obi had stayed in LP, even if he didn't win, and he would not have won, okay? I don't want him to win. He wouldn't have won, but number one, there'll be respect for the person like that. You will watch out for him. Then you'll be able to actually have leverage. You'll be able to have that leverage you need, the advantage you need to be able to, what's the word now, negotiate. What is he negotiating with now? You think the obedience movement is worthy of being negotiated based? I mean, NDC put out a statement earlier today asking them not to bully them. It's on Twitter. We've been through this before. Please, obedience, don't bully us. I was like, okay, what's that? You have a group of people who just make noise and constitute nuisance. Yes, you're going to get, I mean, you cannot get the votes you got the last time, by the way. You see, when Buhari lost in 2003, you didn't see those people insult the entire country. Whether you like it or not, the numbers were consistent. 2003, 2007, 2011, they were consistent until 2015 when he won. This one tried once, they lost, insulted everybody. There's a picture flying around social media now of a young girl who put out an image and says Igbo will become president, you know, and that it's time up for Yoruba. What did she call us? So Yoruba slaves and Hausa or Fulani cows. And you want to become president in the same country where, number one, you don't have the numbers. Number two, even if you have the numbers, you need that spread, because you cannot be in the 36 states at the same time, contrary to what some of them were saying in the last election. You can't win in 36 states. You're going to have to spread. You need other people, but you have insulted all of us. Come and become the president now. You tried once, you failed. You try again, you will still fail. Because look, go along, how to fail, none. But at least you are building momentum. I mean, this is the way you're talking about. Yes, he tried once and he did it, but that was after 30 years of planning. But you failed once and you start cursing out people. Didn't come, and I said it. You guys, the way you're insulting Fulani Hausa, that's not how it's going to be when the Yoruba person becomes president. Insult everybody, they are cows. Yoruba are slaves. Okay. Meanwhile, in the Nigerian political history, when you talk about alliance, the first time there has been an alliance between the North and the West, between Hausa Fulani and Yoruba people, was in 2015, since 1959. Alliance that produced something in this country since 1959. In fact, since forever. We had alliance in the 1950s before the conference in England, but nothing much came out of it. I mentioned 59 because that was when they were really planning for independence. Since 59 until 2015, the only people who have been working in alliance and they've been succeeding were the North and the East. So if you're looking for slave and slave owners, you can make up whoever you think is a slave and slave owner in that conversation or relationship. The first time the North and the West actually collaborated on anything political that resulted in something, apart from the MKO thing, of course, you know, MKO was scuttled and the election was annulled. This one actually produced a precedent, was in 2015. But then, because they have now won, though they are now, you were not slaves when you Azikiwe became Governor General in 1959, 1960. You were not slaves. You were not slaves when Alex Ekweme became Vice President in 1979. Trisha Shagari, you were not slaves. By the way, exactly, we'll have another session. What Zik did to Awo in 1959, do you know he repeated it in 1979, 20 years after? The exact same thing. They planned to do something, they were ready to do it, he jumped and went to meet the North. He did it in 59, he did it in 79, but you are not the slaves. When Ojukwu was going all over the place saying, hang Abiola, when he was hobnobbing with Abacha and IBB, you were not the slaves. Just be insulted. And, you know, somebody said I was talking Igbo history. This is Nigerian history, it's not Igbo history. You are not going to silence me by saying you are always talking about Igbo history. This is not Igbo history, this is Nigerian history. Just so happens that you've been told the false version of it, and this one is actually paining you. But all of us will learn. It's not even about you alone. We will all learn. Keep insulting everybody, you become president. Anyway, the point is that he likes ready-made materials, okay? Like
no primaries, so much for a Democrat. Even Tinubu, I'm doing like this because it's what I'm supporting. Even Tinubu, who engineered the creation, the formation of a party, had to be subjected to a primary election that he had to fight tooth and nail to win. That's where Emilokon came out now. It was because of the APC primaries. Emilokon was not about Nigeria. In that moment, he went to Ogun State to tell them, like, Emilokon, I know your son is going. He was talking about Oshibajo. It was about that was before the primaries. He was talking to the delegates. That's the man who formed the party. He got there. His protege, or you could call him his protege or his mentee, or whatever. I shall know that it was the benefactor to Oshibajo. He was also contesting. Rotimi Amechi was contesting. Even the Senate president that we have now, Godswill Akpabio, was also contesting, although he decided to support Tinubu just before the elections. All people were contesting against the man who founded ACN and helped create the... And you know the funny thing, when they created CPC, there was no primary for Buhari. He that they always called national leader, it was now his turn. They had to... Did you hear that he ran away and say, there's quarrel in this place, I don't want to stay? No, he was subjected to that. He went through that. He won. Then he now won the election. This one will just be looking for where he can get free tickets. I hope he gets it. But of course, I hope he loses. And it's not because I hate him, it's because I like Tinubu. And I think he still has more years to learn, because he has not stopped all this divisive thing that he was saying. By the way, what somebody said earlier about Peter Obi and what he said about his wife, it's true. While the video was playing, I want to be sure, because I found that a bit weird. And since we talked about that, I think I should just play it in passing, because somebody mentioned it. But that's not today's topic, and it will never be a topic, by the way. But someone mentioned it, and I think it's important to also confirm that I have gone and verified. Go and verify. Take a listen, please.
As long as I'm alive, she's my wife. That's it. That's me. I can tell you that. As long as I'm alive, I won't marry, I won't have anything. She is my wife. That is sealed. Finish.
No matter what she does.
No. Whatever she like, let that do. Because what is he going to do that will offend me? What? Maybe have an affair? It's our business. It's not to me. They will say two of us. They will say Peter Obi is a very good man who married a woman who is... That's it. Nobody can describe me. You can't quantify me with the life of my wife or my children. No. We have different lifestyle. Even if I'm traveling with my wife, people have seen it. People have seen my wife in business class. They've seen her in first class. I'm in different class. And we're in the same place. Because that's what suits her. We don't quarrel with it. It suits him and it doesn't conflict my interest.
It is well. I said it's not today's topic, Abi, so let's leave it alone. But I just wanted to tell you that I found that what you said turns out to be true. But let's stay on politics. Let's see family matters. May God, whatever is going on, is well. All right. We're going to go back to Kenneth Okonkwo. He's not done with Peter Obi yet. And he had this to say about the fact that it was Peter Obi who needed ADC, and that ADC did not need him. Apparently all this is coming out because he defected and went and joined NDC, leaving ADC for those folks who have been touting him as, a Democrat. Apparently they discovered that he hasn't changed his colors. Take a listen to Kenneth Okonkwo, please.
Oh, well, you recall that when I said I wasn't going to speak for him again, I said I will not speak for a man that I don't understand his position on important national issues. I say I will not speak for a man who, even if he wins and Nigerians give him his vote, he does not have what it takes. He does not have the capacity to even secure his own victory. So the issue of saying whether the coalition will be affected, the coalition will not be affected in any way. Peter Obi, within 6 months, changed parties 3 times. You could recall, since he defected to NDC, I'm not taking it as anything serious or anything relevant to bother myself. Because by December 30th, he was a member of Labour Party. By December 31st, he was a member of ADC. By May 3rd, he is a member of NDC. I am sure, if not for the restriction in the Electoral Act, before the close of the registration or the membership time, I'm sure he will be a member of another party. That is his nature. But let me say it. Changing parties is not what questions your capacity, your competence, or your character. It is the reason that you adduced for changing the party. Peter Obi said, I don't have a problem with David Mark, meaning he didn't have a problem with the ADC. He said, I don't have a problem with Atiku Abubakar, meaning he does not have any problem with the aspirants. Then what is the reason he gave? He said, I don't like challenges. I don't like trouble. ADC is going through challenges, legal and otherwise. And I like to run away to where there is peace, to where there is no trouble. And I now ask, how can this same man ask Nigerians to entrust Nigeria in his care when Nigeria is the most challenged country in the world today? Nigeria is both physically and mentally challenged in all capacity. Nigeria is the fourth most terrorized nation on earth. Nigeria has borrowed itself to bankruptcy. Nigeria, as I'm talking to you, the bandits tie people on the tree and put fire under them to burn them. In Kwara, in Kogi, in Niger. So how can a man who says he's running away from challenges be able to face the challenges we are facing in Nigeria today? I am sorry. The P2B's temperament and his capacity is incompatible with the requirement of Nigeria of today. So the ADC cannot possibly be missing anything. Recall that before he came to ADC in December 31st, his political career was already dead. He was losing his polling unit in his own state by the gubernatorial candidate that he chose by himself. Recall that even when one member of the House of Assembly of Labour Party died, they fielded his widow to know whether they can get the sympathy of the people. But because of the rejection of Anambra people to Peter Obi's leadership star, they still voted against the innocent widow. So recall that before he entered ADC, his political career was already dead. So dead that he could not even enter ADC from his own state, Anambra State. He entered ADC from Enugu State, my own state, where he believed that the toxin will not overwhelm him. So ADC actually gave him a lifeline. Peter Obi needed ADC. ADC did not need him because we were already moving on without him. So when he came into ADC with his normal toxic followers, with their own penchant of not wanting democracy at the primary level or at the secondary level, obviously I knew he was going to go. Let me reveal one secret to you. The first day I was consulted in this coalition, and that was before the unveiling, they asked me, so how is the possibility of ADC performing in the Southeast? I told them plainly and straight away, don't build anything on P2B because he's not going to contest under ADC because he will eventually leave. Why was I so sure? Because he's a man that has morbid fear for primary election. He has never been in one and he will not be in one until he finishes his political career. He became a governor. He entered into primary election. He failed and lost to Ralph Mosu in Apga. And then he still managed to find the leaders to cancel that primary, and they still gave him the ticket. That was how he became governor. And so when he gave the reason of challenges, of course, he lied, because his main reason is that he does not want to face the primary election. And let me tell you another thing, because ADC was fully prepared to convince the whole world that P2B is not interested in democracy. When he came into ADC, he gave a condition that he should be allowed to produce the National Organization Secretary, National Organizing Secretary, NOS. And the reason he gave is that so that he would be the one to conduct the primary. And ADC said, fine, take. When we were doing the e-registration, P2B again and his followers asked to be in charge of the e-registration. And that was why they put my sister, Aisha Yusuf, to be in charge and OBA, so that all the members of ADC in the primary will be determined by P2B. And then P2B was to organize the primary. That was why you did not hear him say, this primary is dollarized, is monetized. That's the reason I'm going. Because he was to be the one to organize the primary. Yet, he was still afraid of free and fair election. Not, of course, of zoning. Because he went to even southern aspirants in order for them to step down for him. So he's a man who is afraid of free and fair primary election. So he left. Of course, I knew he was going to leave. And then ADC is moving on.
I've been laughing because of what I saw on the screen. Somebody said, Okonkwo is still living in bondage. By the way, if you didn't get that joke, Okonkwo became very popular with the movie Living in Bondage. But I don't think he's in bondage anyway. And then somebody says, Kini Obiralo or Kini Obiralo Rigba Babai. The guy went to town. He insulted the heck out of Obi. And I think it probably has to do with the fact that he was a spokesman, right? He was the one selling him to the world, right? Telling us how great, he was. And I wish I could play that, but I want to just stay on topic. And if we have to, maybe later I'll play something about what he said about Obi when the going was good. But here's the thing, and I'll play it. Here's the thing. I think the man has unraveled. His inconsistency, his penchant for jumping from one place to another, his need, right, to be pampered, I think is going to be his undoing, because people are going to discover and they are discovering that they can't really follow that kind of person. And like I said the other day, if people are following you to join one group like this and you just want to move, just move like the folks who joined ADC because of him, they are going to have a problem. And one of them is GRV. GRV is saying now that he doesn't want to leave ADC. And I saw some people say things like, this is not the time for ideological whatever. Just move if you have to move so they can win the election. Listen, it doesn't matter whether he moves or stays, he cannot win. The next governor of Lagos State is Obafemi Hamzat, by the grace of God. And the reason by the way, I should also say this, the reason I want Hamzat to become governor of Lagos State is because of the blueprint, the master plan for Lagos State. Everybody has been following that blueprint since Ashwaju, even before he left office, he came up with the blueprint, right, about 32 years, right? Then you had BRF, Obasanjo Raji Fashola, he became governor, and then he followed that footsteps. Then you had Ambode, and then we now have Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and of course his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat, will continue that way. So it's not going to be like, are we going to just stop with blue line and red line? No, we know that there is more to come, and it's just going to keep building along that trajectory. Not somebody that will come and be telling us that they don't think in Yoruba, and say Lagos is cosmopolitan, belongs to everybody. It doesn't belong to everybody. We're going to talk about that one very soon, because that belongs to everybody is what's getting us in trouble right now in Lagos State. Before we do that, I think it's important for me to play this particular clip for Yoruba people who are in LP. You see, politics is not anybody's mate. And the person that asked the question, Kini Obira Lori boy, like, what exactly did we do to this person? It may not be unconnected with what I'm about to play in your hearing. The person who spent the time taking him to the cleaners just now, way back, he was one pushing him in our faces and telling us how it's the best thing since sliced bread. Listen to Kenneth Okonkwo as he talked about Peter Obi. Take a listen, please. Listen.
Tell you about Peter Obi's 7-point agenda. 1, securing and uniting Nigeria. 2, effective legal and institutional reforms. 3, production-centered growth for food security. 4, leapfrogging Nigeria out of oil dependency to the 4th industrial revolution. 5, human capital development for effective competitiveness. 6, expanding physical infrastructure through market-driven reforms. 7, robust foreign policy that will restore Nigerians' strategic relevance in international community. In all these things, they are the things he did and he had done as the governor of Anambra State. Recall, when he was in Anambra State, insecurity was so removed that the IG of police then, Mohammed, said within 5 years of Obi regime, no successful bank robbery took place. None. It's on record. The kidnapper, Evans, ran away from Anambra State, and he said Obi security tactic chased him away. Obi was the first person who started demolishing any home that is owned by kidnappers. And you know what? He said he is going to implement this thing through 3-level policing: federal, state, and community. He used the community vigilante. He was one of the governors that did it. Obi inherited via Chiu, the first governor of Anambra State PDP. He was the only governor in PDP that was not returned because of his maladministration. Chinwo Kemba didn't do. So they had a stopgap, and after that, Obi came in. So he inherited terrible Anambra State that was coming last in WAEC through human capital development. Within 2 years, Anambra State started coming first in WAEC. So can you imagine? We had APC that inherited foreign currency, and they are now coming last in the world. I said they have failed us 735% of the time. Then Obi inherited an educational system that was last and catapulted it to second, to first, within 2-3 years.
And I'd like to ask you this. So those who will question.
That was on Politics Today, hosted by Shima Kimbalue. They have more things to talk about. So think about the passion with which he was trying to convince the rest of the country that they must vote for Obi. Someone says there were special miracle signers. Of course. Yeah. But see all that he was doing, drama performance, but at least he put all his energy in that, only to discover that Ento Nshefun could have preferred water. And I think that's why he's very angry. Okay, whether the anger is justified or not, I think it's something that we're going to have to. 1 second, please. It's something that we're going to have to think about whether it's justified or not. But apparently, people should know this, and this is very important, especially for Yoruba people who are supporting Peter Obi. If you are still supporting him, please think about it. There is no consistency, right? The people who campaigned for him are discovering the fact that Cold War there, and if you are in that group, so we were having a conversation earlier today. Destroyed relationships because of Peter Obi. He said all kinds of things because of Peter Obi. You are just wasting time. All right, thank you very much for listening to that. That was Dati Okonkwo, Wike versus Peter Obi. The food is ready. Politics. I'll just respond to some things before we go. Someone says here, why are you worried about Peter Obi? I'm not. We thought the man is irrelevant. He is. Anyways, we all know who the real GOAT is. I don't know. I was going to send you home, but let me just, have pity. See, the thing is, I want Tinubu to win. I mean, I've said that several times. And there are times when we talk about the things that he's doing right? And there are times when we even criticize when things are not properly done. But for the most part, I try to highlight the things the government is doing because I think the government itself is not even talking so much about it. But since elections are coming and they're very close, I think it's also important to demarcate Peter Obi. And I'm saying it clearly, it's not a matter of are you trying to say this? No, a person cannot be moving like this, and then you have the essentially the lives of young Yoruba people at stake, folks who have been blackmailed, who have been brainwashed, and you have folks, essentially trying to guilt shape them into following Peter Obi. And as soon as some of them want to change their mind, you have this bullies just talk. So it's important for them to know that, listen, there are people on your side, in your corner, and they will make you understand exactly why you need to get out of that, whatever you want to call it, whether it's a cult or a fascist organization, because that's not how sensible human beings conduct themselves. So, and himself as a leader, I can't even call him a leader, as a politician, It's unstable. It's like what Jacob said about Reuben, unstable as waters. It's unstable. You're just moving all over the place. So it's important for us to also highlight that, right? And it's a game, right? It's a sport. You don't expect people who don't like your team to be praising whatever it is you're doing. And it's also important to highlight the things that are wrong. And if you notice, one of the major things I keep saying it, that I find quite interesting about the man Peter Obi is, number one, the fact that he makes himself out to be better than others when it's literally the exact same thing, if not worse in some respect. It's amazing. Then you have this bunch of clowns who assume that he's a messiah, and the rest of us who don't adopt him as messiah, we're somehow doing something against God himself. You guys are not thinking straight. All right, Peter Obi is not all that, but it's important, and I'm doing this primarily because of young Yoruba people who are in the obedient movement because of peer pressure or because they've been bullied or they are still being bullied. I see it on Twitter almost every day. They want to say something, they have to say, I'm Yoruba, but I am Guinea-Con. But even tomorrow, I'm going to read some of the things are happening. NDC went to field people. Almost every post taken by Igbo, party that they just started last week. The Yorubas in the party are now speaking up. And as they are speaking up, guess what the Igbos are telling them? That they are tribalist. How can you start a party in Lagos State and about 90% of your posts are filled with Igbo people? Are you okay? And then when the people now say no, you say because you're tribalist, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Because these are the gaslight you, and you know what? In fact, thank God I haven't talked about that. I'm going to write something down. We're going to connect that with TOS Benson. I wanted us to talk about the book by Musikilu Mojid. It's actually a very good book. I started reading it a while back. It's the letters by Obasanjo. So there's a particular chapter that features letters between General Obasanjo and Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Particularly in 76. No, even before the war. During the war, then in 76, then in 79, when everything went all right. We're gonna have that conversation sometime. But since listen, politics today say we have to be very early. Soon. Okay, so 1 second. TOS Benson, another gentleman that they shoot pepper in Lagos. TOS Benson was essentially removed as a candidate in Ikorodu. He had to run as in his own homeland. Though. They said to him they wanted an Igbo person to run in instead. We'll talk about all of that tomorrow. Just to tell you that, again, the reason I do this is because when people speak the way I do, of course, we try to be measured, so it's not about hate or anything. But when we speak, it's not because someone is hateful of others or have any of this phobia, which makes no sense because I'm not afraid of anything. It's not that. It's that when you read Nigeria's history and you see what's happening, you're literally watching a replay. To act like you can't see that is actually, it's not going to do you any good. That's the point. Unless you haven't read these things. And if you have not read, let's read together. This is not here I'm not here to say, oh, I have read, you have not read. That's not the point. Nobody collects it. There's no award for bragging. The point is that we can all study these things together, understand where we have been, find a way to, number one, don't fall into that ditch any longer. Don't do it. Don't make that mistake again. Then number two, maybe if possible, work with others to essentially evolve. And if people don't want to evolve, then leave them in the gutters and move on. But this thing, Owen Shelley, the report, what we're going to discuss tomorrow, this had been put in the 1960s. This is 2026. It's been about 60 years. It's still happening. If you now say, Komata, like one clown last week was saying, I see what this did in Oshodi Solo. 24 out of 29 opportunities went to Igbo people, even though, of course, that should go to, people in the land. If you have sense, at least you want to make like 50% or 60% to the indigenous people. So they won't see you coming. These people are not very smart. at least you have to find a way. You can still find a way to help people around you, but you want to make sure that the people of the land actually love you so that they can keep giving you more chances, and then they will not even mind. You think I will mind that out of 100%, about maybe 40 or 50 or even 60% is given to Tiv, Idoma, Efik, Ibibio, Urobo, Igbo, Hausa, and so on and so forth, and just give the indigenous people 40%. You think as an indigenous person, I will have a problem with that? I'll be like, okay, the other people living around us, so it will be okay to have them enjoy, from the largesse. But when you now have 24 Igbos out of 29 spots, and then you have the effrontery to tell people that they are tribalistic, something is wrong somewhere. Anyway, this clown saw that picture and said, although I see that 24 out of 25 have gone to Igbos and I'm a Yoruba person, I have to tell myself that I cannot be tribalistic. I said, you have to tell yourself that you're stupid. Because people have to wake up. It's one thing, and I talked about it last week, it's one thing to be talking about inclusion. At this point, it's not about inclusion anymore, it's about erasure. People are going to use your own goodwill against you, and when they are done, they will blame you for opening up your doors. You will cry, but nobody will even nobody will say sorry or calm you. Nobody. They'll be like, will go. And that's how it works. That's how it plays out in politics. They did it to I'm going to have that conversation with NDC, and we're going to talk about how they did it to TOS Benz in the 1960s. A man from Ikorodu, Igbos ganged up and told him that he's not going to run in NCNC, that they have another Igbo they want to have on the. They removed him. He was a party member. He was in parliament. He married an Igbo woman. He even built something in Igbo land. They removed him and put an Igbo man. He had to run as an independent candidate. Thankfully, he won. But we'll discuss the details tomorrow. This next election, love everybody, okay? As far as interpersonal relationships are concerned, listen, I always say it. I have no problem with any human being, any ethnicity, no problem at all. Like I can sit, have dinner, lunch, whatever, have conversations with you. I love you, all right? But when it comes to the politics of the land, it was a chairman now who said that politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. Politics is not kajoyo. Ọmọ ìyá méjì gan kọ̀yìn síra wọn ká má ti sọ àwọn tí ò ń ṣe ara lé. Títí àwọn tó jẹ́ ará àta pápátá kó sọ pé àná ẹni wọn à ń so. Ṣé ká dẹ̀ farantàn yàtọ̀ pé a fẹ́ bára tán. So please, let's wake up. Elections are coming. That's the only way you can actually be sure that you're protecting your space. And I'm very happy. And like I said last week, may God bless Joe, the honorable member representing Oshodi Solo Federal Constituency, too. May God bless him. Because he was very strategic in pushing this thing out around this time. And so we're going to capitalize on it and make sure that that never happens again in Yoruba land. But some things are happening now, and it's happening in NDC. They've moved. They've moved. Somebody move your mom, so want to move, let's help you. This is one NDC. And what's happening in NDC in Lagos, we're going to discuss that tomorrow. And if there's time, we'll probably read some of those documents I mentioned earlier. All right. I want to thank everybody who has been part of today's session. Someone says, politics is war. No, politics is war. There's just hopefully, and that's the prayer, that there will be no bloodshed, right? And see, politics at a very mature level, right, is where you bring forth your own stuff. I bring forth mine. We can go head to head, and one person wins, and either you support the person or you be the opposition party, keep the person on their toes. Then you go again. That's how it should be. But again, I'm being idealistic. It's not always like that. But the reality is that don't be naive and say, oh, we're all Nigerians now. Anybody can run for anything. That's how we said it in the LP top to bottom, rather than back last time. Yeah. By the way, if you were LP back in the day, your sins are forgiven. But please don't repeat the mistake, because again. God bless you. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, please, if you don't have your PVC, go and get your PVC. If you have family members in Nigeria who haven't gotten their PVCs, please reach out to them. When it's time for election, let's begin to tell ourselves, go see ball. People are going to have to get involved. We've got to do something about our own spaces. If we want to help strangers, and I put out an article yesterday about Lagos, right? I think it's titled You hate Lagos, but you can't leave. Something like that. It's on YouTube. I call some people permanent strangers, and it's a shame. All right, permanent strangers means that you have been somewhere for years, but you're always authorizing yourself. You don't see yourself as part of the people. It's not about what the people see. It's about how you are acting. For instance, there is no sane person who sees himself as part of Yoruba people who will give 80-something% of opportunities to Igbo people in Yoruba land. That means that even you know that you're a stranger and you're a permanent stranger. Don't go along. But here's the point: there is no way you or myself will have opportunities for our people and we'll say, okay, you know what, we want to go out and go and give it to someone. You know, something is wrong somewhere. So we want to make sure that we protect our space. Of course, our politicians should also get busy, and people should benefit from whatever it is that they're supposed to do. But that doesn't mean you should open the door and allow people to take over the entire space. That's not going to work. Well, that's how on YouTube says Peter Obi has no structure. Simple, he cannot be president. We have 32 governors, and you still they fear. He just keep deceiving themselves. Pure for life. Okay, I think the thing about children like this is that they're not properly raised. So why are they touched for in brain? Papa old red wired, mama old black wired. Both of them are retards. So somehow the wire they touch. So with that, I don't even want to respond to you. You're not very. Retardation is actually your family inheritance. All right, let's go on to some things that actually make sense. I thought it was something good. That's why I was reading it. But no, it doesn't have a structure. It can never be president, and you're going to cry for life. God bless you. All right. Someone says, if Tinubu did well, I swear I will sing his praises because all I want is a working leader. Is a lie. Is a lie. Yeah, a jingoist. Gave Peter Obi almost 90% of the votes. You think no matter what Tinubu does, you would not see it. But this is not the same clowns who were speaking against the Nel Fund loans that young people were getting in schools. The same clowns. Oh, it's wrong. It will get them in trouble. The good things he has done, you haven't even acknowledged this, so don't worry. You'll be fine. And let's not lie to ourselves. Obi, and someone wrote here, my battlefield on TikTok says Obi remains a project of the Igbos. He is. He was going around last week. Everywhere he went with Igbo leaders. Quite interesting, considering you want to be president of Nigeria. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, if that's what you want to do. But don't just do what you want to do. That's okay. Don't try to deceive me. Don't try to make a fool of me. That's all. All right. Your mind says, will ADC be able to field candidates in 2027 elections because of all the pending litigations in court that's rocking the political party? Well, we'll see how that goes. I think they're yet to have their primary, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I hope whatever they do, Tinubu should win. And Nigeria we need that second term for some real actions. Everything we have seen this first term is just introduction. The real change, it started, but I think there are other things I would not be able to do until his second time in office. So we will trust in that he will win, and that, of course, people will also be able to, have a new lease of life. There are things good on paper for folks who are still struggling. They'll be able to actually enjoy life, and for all of us, life gets better. All right, it's been lovely having this session and spending time with everybody. But I have to run. We listened to too long stuff. And I said if we listen to the second one, I'll not be able to bring people up because of time. And I really have to run because I have to prepare for something else. I have another meeting. But thank you very much for being part of today's session. I'll see you on Tuesday to be 4 p.m. if we're time West African time. And we'll go deep into some very interesting conversations tomorrow. So join us. Before we go, listen to the Nigerian Yoruba anthems, okay? And then we will call it a day. Oh, I think I said 2 people want to come up. Unless you can keep it at maybe 2 minutes, because I was going to leave at 7. Let's bring you up. Just keep it short, please. Good evening, Bumblebee. Yes, sir. You're sounding like you're far away. Please mute though. Yes, I can hear you, but you're sounding far away.
Okay, Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, so quick one. Number one, they need to inform them that the politicians, the political grassroots guys, they need to mobilize for people to be able to get their voters card at the grassroots level. It's very, very important. I don't know how they can collaborate with INEC for us to get. I've tried getting mine 3 times. I've done my registration, gone to different locations. I've not been able to get mine, and that was since the last elections. So if there's any way, probably help to be greatly appreciated. Secondly, this issue of seaports. Anybody that knows anything, that has maybe 2 brain cells to rub together, will just know that is a propaganda. You know why I know that? The bulk of the upstream infrastructure in Nigeria are mostly in the oil and gas region, right? That means both the offshore and onshore wells, oil wells, the pipelines and everything. How did those things get installed? So do people think all the hardware they installed in those places were brought into Nigeria through Lagos and then they took it by road all the way to that place? Of course, the tankers they are using to evacuate crude products and everything, they are docking at seaports in those places. So the truth is, oil and gas logistics, petroleum product logistics are being done in those ports. It won't make sense for them to also be bringing in and taking out containers from those places, even though they do in some of those places, like on the port, they actually bring in stuff there. So people, like we said, people need to be aware, When you are not aware, people will pull the wool over your eyes. So, hello, Prof, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So these things, maybe they need to do videos and documentaries of those seaports, and people need to be aware and sort of an expose of the upstream, midstream, downstream oil and gas. That refinery they built in Warri and all those places, those Walter Smith refineries and all those other refineries there, everything they built there was brought in through seaports, and it was not legal seaports. So people need to get over this nonsense, don't you? So those 2 things is what I wanted to bring up. Thank you very much, Prof.
I really appreciate you, Bumblebee. Thank you so much for that submission. We have one more person, Dio. Good evening, Mr. Dio. Are you there? Hello, are you there? Okay. Thank you very much for coming up then. Someone says, speaking in terms of seaport, if it didn't day, it didn't day. And it didn't day, and it will not didn't day. I mean, the idea of seaports in the south is just ridiculous. Because for you to have a seaport, you must have a sea, or you must have sea, whichever English is right. So if there is no sea, how exactly are you going to have a seaport? And there are other things they can have. They can have a river port. They can have inland dry port. Those things that governors are doing in other places. I just hope that their governors, wake up to responsibility. Meanwhile, while I was listening to Bumblebee, I saw a report. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. The VAT pool, what the 6 geopolitical zones contributed to the VAT pool and received in February 2026. You'll be shocked that the loudest ones are the least productive in this country. The Southwest in February of this year contributed 252.78 billion naira. We received 91.44. We received only 36.7% of what we contributed. South, they received 42.9 billion of what they contributed. So we received 36.17. So about 63% we had to donate to charity. South got 42%, so they had to give up about 58% thereabout. North Central contributed 36.2 billion naira. They received 49.29. They got more than they contributed, so they got 136.17% in return. Northwest, where they have Sambi Safa. No, that's Northeast. Okay. Northwest is the other side. They contributed 30.74 billion. They received 55.75 billion. That's 181.37%. Northeast, where they have Sambisa, where they have Boko Haram, they contributed 19.75 billion. They received 40.76 billion. So they got 206.44%. That's a lot more than they contributed. But as bad as that is, wait for this one. Southeast contributed a paltry 7.95 billion naira. A paltry 7.95 billion naira and received 32.56 billion. That's 409.46% of what the Southeast contributed in the month of February. And you hear the noise. And just empty barrel, agba òfìfo. Go. The point is that Southwest is being cheated. But no, somehow I think we can handle it. Particularly if we can just get the SWGC working so we know what actually comes to us. And the funny thing is that they keep trooping in. That's another matter, Sha. Anybody that wants to insult other people's religions, at least they should hold their governors accountable. Nobody's saying stay away, but number one, you just denigrate the place, denigrate. Anyway, that's the report, and that's from FAC. Hopefully people can get angry with that number or with those numbers, and then they'll wake up. All this, somebody wearing singlet and having billionaire or $1 billion, they need to please help to make sure that there's more money getting to the coffers of the government. May God bless Nigeria. May God bless every part of the country. Definitely bless Yoruba land. Now I'm going to play the Nigerian anthem and then the Yoruba anthem. Sing along if you know the lyrics. If not, at this point, please learn. Thank you. àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ogun adúláwọ̀ ìmọ́lẹ̀ wo ni wọ́kùn lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́ o, Nàìjíríà ò ní bàjẹ́, ilé wa àti ọ̀nà wa kò ní bàjẹ́. Nǹkan tá a bá dáwọ́lé ọmọ yorùsí rẹ̀ ní lágbára Ọlọ́run. Thank you very much for being part of today's session. I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Please join us then and also invite others. We're going to have a great time together tomorrow. Have a lovely evening. God bless you. Odaro. Esho.